Welcome to this Grandma's Life podcast. I'm your host, theciaellis. Get ready to laugh, learn, and grow with me as we explore growing old in an ever changing world. One of the good things about growing old is people judge you less when you sometimes say outrageous things. I'm getting older and I've had a fascinating life. I also have opinions. You may not agree with these opinions, and I may not care. Even now, I am passionate about many things. I love to learn. I love quotes. I love my animals on the farm, and I care about my country. Join me as we explore loving life, even as we age. Today is January 6th, 2025. This is episode 71. Whatever happened to Mean Girls? In this episode, we're going to discuss this mess with guys sharing locker room space with the girls. But first, we're going to do some farm happenings. So Tom has been in the middle of, actually, he's actually done with it now. We now have a wood stove in our living room, and I have to admit, it's kind of nice. We are all electric except for my kitchen stove. It is hooked up to propane, and we are in a old trailer house, and it gets cold in here, especially since it sits about 44 inches up off the ground because we're on a hill, too. I mean, on the north end it is. South end, I think it's only like 12 inches, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, he decided after I've been wanting one for several years and stuff, and had even bought a wood stove, he decided he found it. He found a different one he liked better, and he decided he was going to put it in. I was apprehensive because he has a tendency to start projects and not finish them, and I did not want him to lose interest in this um, project and me have a hole in the side of my house where the chimney was coming out. But he got it done. There's some things he still has to do. We're waiting for a part to actually secure it better on the outside. He's got a place on the outside where the chimney comes out that it holds it somewhat, but he needs a bracket, and it has not arrived yet. And then he needs to do some finishing up on the actual wall where he put the hole. So, but other than that, it's up and running, and we're staying warm inside, and it's kind of nice. Kenzie's in the process of looking for a new car, and I don't blame her. Her car is falling apart. It's got well over 200,000 miles on it. We spent a lot of money on different parts because that's what you do over time, and it's been bumped into a couple of times too. You know how a teenager's first car is. It's not always, this last one was not her fault, but there's been a couple of times that she's done some stuff to her car, and it's beginning to look rough, and she has a lot of pride. She, even as rough as it looks on the body and everything, she takes good pride in it. Every time it's time to get the oil change, she gets the oil change. Every time there's something going on with the vehicle, she makes sure that something happens to get it fixed, and she keeps it clean to the best of her ability on our property. She does a good job with it. And so now she wants another car, and she has a pretty decent job. So she's trying to find a car that she can afford and one that she likes. So that's pretty much all we got happening. It got cold. It's been very cold. It's not going to be above freezing for a couple more days. So I've been out taking care of animals, and making sure about 3 or 4 times a day I go outside and make sure they have fresh water, and that's been keeping me busy. But other than that, that's all we got on farm. What I'm listening to Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, and that's been interesting. I haven't been into it for very long, but it's been kind of interesting. And then I'm still listening to Heretics of Doom. I'm struck. Well, I actually finished listening to the first round. I always listen to all my audiobooks um, twice. I'm just trying to decide if I want to do Heretics of Dune twice or not, if I just want to move to the next one, or if I don't even want to listen to Dune stuff anymore. I don't know. I'm still working on that one. But I'm still reading, and I'm going to be for a while, as research for my Are You Ready for the Next Great Depression series. I'm reading Spuds, Spam, and Eating for Victory, Rationing in the Second World War by Catherine Knight. I'm also almost done with a little book called The Unsinkable Mrs. Brown by Carolyn Bancroft. This is kind of a biographical book. And then I'm on The Other Emily by Dean Koontz. And if you know me at all, you know Dean Koontz is my absolute favorite author in the world. So I'm enjoying that book. All right. I have a quote of the week. This is Courage is the Power of the Mind to Overcome Fear by Martin Luther King Jr. And most of you all know about him, but I still like to do a little bit of research on the people that I get the quotes from. And so I'm going to read you a little bit. He was born Michael King Jr. on January 15, 1929. He died on April 4th, 1968, as many of you know. But he was born in Atlanta, Georgia. In 1942, when King was 13, he became the youngest assistant manager of a newspaper delivery. Oh, it didn't say it. And in the same year, he skipped the ninth grade and enrolled in. Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that part. It was because it's in blue ink, and I don't have. I've only gotten black and white. Well, darn. Okay, in his high school, he maintained a B plus average. He got there. He started that when he was only 13, and then during his junior year in high school, a specific college that I don't know what it is, began accepting high school juniors who passed their test. Shoot. Anyway, they had increased the enrollment by allowing juniors to apply. So in 1944, at age 15, King passed the examination and was enrolled in the university. And the summer before his last year at Morehouse University, in 1947, the 18-year-old King graduated. He was a civil rights leader, and he participated in and led marches. He was jailed several times for it. The FBI director of the time considered King a radical and made him an object of the FBI's watch list from 1963 forward. FBI agents investigated him for possible communist ties, spied on his personal life, and secretly recorded him. In 1964, the FBI mailed King a letter which he interpreted as an attempt to make him commit suicide. And he in 1968 was planning a national occupation of Washington, D.C., and he was assassinated on April 4th. Man, there's a lot of it that just didn't get printed, and my apologies for that. I'm looking for the rest. Saying that with unspecified government agencies among the co-conspirators of his assassination, the Department of Justice subsequently reopened the case, and the Attorney General announced in 2000 that no evidence of a conspiracy could be found. And that's all for that. All right. I messed that one up pretty good. I'll have to pay attention and make sure that whatever's in a one color of ink gets printed so I can read it. So we're on to the main subject now. Oh, I want to repeat the quote again one more time. Courage is the power of the mind to overcome fear. Martin Luther King Jr. All right, now, main subject. Whatever happened to Mean Girls? And I'm not sure that Mean Girls is the accurate description for this podcast, but I'll bet you'll get my meaning as I explain myself to you. I've never watched the movie, but I envision aggressive girls surrounding their victim, handling what needs to be taken care of. And as we've been inundated to a number of atrocities in these recent years, I have been appalled at the number of guys who claim to be girls so they can play on girls' sports teams. And I understand a lot of you think that's going to be fixed, and it could be, but it's still happening. It's still in the news, and we put up with it. So that's the reason I want to talk about it. These girls are getting hurt, sometimes permanently, by physically superior males. Women who have worked their whole lives to be the best in their chosen sport suddenly lose their spots on the podium, championship games, their personal best records being shredded by a trans male, dashing their dreams as an elite athlete. As a whole, we have stood by and we've put up with it. I admire Riley Gaines, as she has been one of the few to openly speak out about this subject, bravely testifying in court and participating in interviews to make people aware of this issue. She has been ridiculed and even physically attacked in her quest to make sports safe for women again. And that's just uncalled for. I admit being sad and even confused by the other girls who would not speak up for themselves. They've convinced themselves that taking second place in an event was just as good as not getting the first place medal, despite the hard work they put in. Many have forfeited games and meets to avoid playing other teams with a transgender male. This is not right. My mind is that the team with a transgender male should be the one to forfeit if it came down to it. I understand that we as women are prone to be the peacekeepers, don't cause problems, just shut up and do as we're told. But there comes a time when women need to stand up for themselves. When speaking to the offending transgender teammate, nor that when the speaking to the offending transgender teammate, nor the faculty doesn't work, find another way to handle the situation. I do not advocate any form of violence. And there must be others who are much smarter than me that have come up with a viable solution to the problem of a transgender person strutting around in the locker room with fully equipped genitals. The entire team should gather around that teammate quietly but menacingly indicate that should that person really want to convert to being a girl, they could accommodate. No one person could stand out as the aggressor. All the girls would show unity in their intent. This person, should this person choose to continue this charade, make it clear that this person that they will not be cowed and they can handle the situation themselves. Should he go to the faculty member, just like back when we were in school, plead innocent and be convincing when telling the faculty they don't know what he's talking about, he must be confused. Make sure there's no physical evidence. So why am I insinuating such a drastic measure? I have been on the wrong end of sexual assault, nearly losing my life in the process. I fought for an hour and a half and had to play dead 4 times to survive. I never want anyone else to go through that, anything like that at all. Besides, if the offending faculty can turn a deaf ear to the plight of the girls' team, they should be able to turn a blind eye to a perceived retaliation. If you are the parent of a girl that's on a team with a transgender male, you should be the face of the faculty. You should be guarding every locker room your girl is changing in. You should be an ever-present pain in the ass protecting your girl. Get the other parents involved. Get kicked out of meets if needed. Call reporters and be vocal with the argument against this practice. We should not live in a day where a girl is afraid to speak up for herself, to be able to protect herself from harm from someone who is either confused about his gender or just pretending to be so he can be in the locker room with the girls. We should not live in a day where the parents are afraid and unwilling to speak out for the safety of their own girls. Okay, maybe the government will come around and reverse this ruling, allowing transgender males to participating in the girls' sports. But maybe it should never have been left up to the government to make that decision in the first place. So what's my question of the day? What are your views on this issue? All right. I'm doing this on Streamyard. I like Streamyard. There's a lot of things it does that I don't do. But if you decide that there's something that, if you ever want to put a podcast out or do some recording along that line, go to my link below at Streamyard and use that link, and it won't cost you anything more, but it will help me. And I do appreciate if you give me a 5-star review. This one was a little bit short, but that's okay. Sometimes when you give your opinion, it gets a little bit short. I don't know. Where I can be found, I have Grandma's Homestead YouTube channel, and I've been putting some extra work into it lately, and it's starting to grow, and I'm really grateful for that. I also have Grandma's Homestead.farm. That's my website. My other YouTube channels are Farm Animal Life and Kinsey Lackey Sports YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, and Rumble under some form of theciaellis, except on I now have a Grandma's Homestead Facebook page. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. I hope you think about it, and we need to think about what our actual philosophy is on some of the stuff that we've been going through. And it hurts my heart to think that these girls have given up so much of their time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears, literally, for some dude to come in and think that he can take it away from him. And that's just wrong, guys. And we need to start standing up for what's right and not, and stand up against what is wrong. All right. God bless. Live until you die. I'll see you next time.